Welcome to Coffee Talk with Liquidshano 1973, an inspirational podcast about the ups and downs of life and everything in between. Here's your host, Shane Lakita.
Good morning, folks. So here we are again, halfway through the week, at this midpoint, the time of the week where you're either heading in with momentum, rolling in through the week, or you're dragging to get to the point that you want to be able to slide into the weekend. So a lot of people call Wednesdays different things, right? They may call it hump day. Maybe they'll call it wacky Wednesday. Maybe some people are like, I'm just going to go have a couple glasses of wine and call it Wednesday, or whatever it is. I'm hoping that today is going to be a great day for you. I'm hoping that you're able to get out and do all the things that you want to be able to accomplish. Maybe it's with your professional goals or your personal goals or your workout goals or whatever it is. I'm hoping that you're able to get out and do all the things that your heart desires and the things that you want to do to really accomplish your own personal goals. Okay. So today's Wednesday. And what I did is I woke up this morning, I was looking at things to be able to be inspired by, or maybe do a coffee talk blog entry or some sort of writing piece, because I didn't know if I was in the mood to do a podcast just yet this week, because I didn't know if I was going to be inspired by much. So as I'm scrolling through the internet, I come across this video. And the video is a guy, he's doing like a seminar. He's doing a seminar with a group of people. And there's this young woman over there, and she stands up and she says, I'm really trying to play in this space of social media. I'm trying to play in the space of influencer and maybe make a living doing this aspect of it versus having to go out in the workforce and work my 40 to 50 to 60 hours a week and drag right through. I really want this to work for me. And the speaker looks at them and he says something to the effect of, I love your can-do attitude. I love your winning attitude. And I love the fact that you can put whatever it is that you want to be able to accomplish on the agenda and try to fight for it and have a winning attitude to get there. That's awesome. But that's only half the equation. And so he elaborated a little bit more. And it was a pretty quick video that was on there. But the second part of it was, he said, after you have the winning attitude of wanting to go out and accomplish all the things that you want to accomplish and do it quickly and all that stuff, the second part of it is you have to learn patience. And he was explaining that patience is one of the hardest things to be able to do and accomplish or even have happen with a human being, because we are all so wired on the fact of we want instant gratification or we want results. We live in a society these days that is all built around results. So if you have a regular job, a 9-to-5, a 40-hour-a-week job, what is the outcome of each one of the days that you're working? Maybe you're going to a job that you're punching in the clock and you're a administrative assistant. You got all these papers you got to be able to get done. You got all these mailers you got to send out, all these phone calls you got to make, all these appointments that you have to book in your calendar. You got all this stuff you've got to be able to do. And your job itself is you need to get this done. There needs to be results at the end. You need to accomplish the goals that you're setting out for yourself to do. And so we're wired in a way that when you accomplish the things that you need to accomplish, there is a celebration at the end, or there's maybe a carrot at the end that you're given to be able to tempt you to getting the job done. So we're wired in this way that we have to be able to accomplish things. So it doesn't just have to be professional. Maybe it's weight loss related. Maybe it's health related. Maybe it's running marathons or half marathons. Whatever it is that you're working on or you're going towards or you're trying to fight towards or you're trying to be able to put on your agenda of things for you to be able to do, we want to be able to accomplish it. The problem is that we want to be able to accomplish it in a non-realistic time. We always want things to be now. We always want things to be at the flip of a switch or the snap of a finger or something for us to be able to do right then and there, for us to be in the place that we want to be. Poof, bang, done. That's what we really want to have happen, right? I mean, listen, I'm human just like anybody else is. And I always want things to come to me faster. I want to be able to get those promotions at work faster. I want to be able to accomplish the health goals that I want quicker and faster and get to where I want to be. It's not reasonable. It's not realistic. It's not something that we got to look at to be able to say, the quicker that I get there, the better I'm going to feel. That's what we kind of lay out there for us to be able to give ourselves the dynamic or a goal internally that we know if we get to where we want to be, we're going to be happier, right? We're going to be better off. We're going to be in a better place and all those things. Because maybe we've felt it before, or, the other part is maybe we see our friends and our family and the people around us and the social media influences and all the people that are around us, they're getting there fast, aren't they? They're getting to all the goals that they want to be able to accomplish quicker and faster and more energetic. And it seems like it's easy for them because that's what they post on social media. That's what they're showing the pictures of. That's what they're showing the journey of. And you're looking at that going, damn it, why can't I get there as fast as they do? Or in my professional world, I've been with the company that I've been working for now for almost 14 years. And I have seen people come up and fly through this company, go from the bottom all the way near the top of where we're at and the dynamic of where we're at in the sales organization. And if it doesn't hurt me to the fact that I'm thinking like from a jealousy perspective, then I'm looking back that I'm not human. I'm looking at these folks and I'm going, damn it, man. Like, how do they move up so quickly? I've got the same experience. I've got 2 degrees. I've got all this different stuff, but they move up faster than me because maybe I don't interview as well, or maybe I don't have the chops to be able to head a certain department or whatever it is, or they're not looking at me in the same light as they do those other people, or maybe they're just destined to be great. Now, so there's a lot of layers here that I'm talking about. And all of these layers that I'm talking about are things that they're hindrances for us to learn how to be patient. We're not patient because we look at these things. We compare ourselves to others. We compare ourselves to fellow workers and other people that are trying to lose weight or be healthy and those kind of things. And when the speaker said, there's 2 prongs to it. One of them is you have to have a winning attitude, and the other one is you have to have patience. And so the premise that he was trying to be able to talk about was that you're probably losing your mojo. You're losing your fire. You're losing your passion based on the fact that you're not patient and you're not willing to put in the work and then the time to be able to get to where you want to be. Now, this stood out to me. And I was sitting back listening to this. And like I said, I didn't know if I was going to record a podcast before I headed out to work. But I had to say something because it's epic when you think about the fact that we need to be in a place where we can not only have a winning attitude and not only want the goals that we want to get to. And overall, we need to be in a place where we can really push forward with a positive mindset towards getting there, because you need that as part of this journey. You need that as part of your whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. You have to be positive. We talk about it all the time, right? On this podcast, we talk about having a positive attitude towards the things that you want to accomplish and the things that you want to do. But the other part of it is you've got to do the work and you've got to have the patience. That's so hard. It is so difficult to be able to get to a place where we can have patience in achieving the things that we want to be able to achieve. It's the exact same thing I say to my son. I sit back with him and he's like, I want to be able to do this and I want to be able to do that. And I always lean in on the fact of, well, you've got to do the work to get there. You've got to put in the effort to be able to do it. And it doesn't come overnight. Right now he's actually in the gym and he's lifting 3 times a week with the football team. And so he lifts with the football team. They go out there, and this is off-season workouts because it's not football season right now. And the kid, don't get me wrong, he's strong. He's getting there. I mean, like literally lean muscle, just really, he's a go-getter. He's a fighter, and he doesn't take no for an answer, and he keeps on fighting and keeps on fighting. The whole entire other freshman team, part of the freshman team that was in the high school, none of them are really working out as much as he and about a select 4 or 5 others that are going in there to work out with the coaches, with the upperclassmen, with whatever, to know that they've got to get better and they got to focus and they got to work. So there's a couple things that he has in play that are really working well for him. So first of all, he's got the attitude, I'm going to go and I'm going to hit these workouts. I'm going to go 3 times a week, and I'm going to do this because I know that I can accomplish anything I set my mind to. And I can, if I focus and I work really hard and I impress my coaches and I get myself to where I want to be, I can accomplish this. The second part that he has going for him is that he's putting in the work. So 3 days a week, he's lifting heavy. He's doing deadlifts. He's doing dead pulls. He's doing all these different things that he's super proud of. And he comes home and he shows me videos and photos and this, that, and the other that he worked with the coaches, which is amazing, right? He's really focused and energetic towards it. He's proud of it and he's doing the work. Now, the last part of it is the part that the speaker was talking about was the patience. He wants to get to where he needs to get to right now. He wants to flip the switch. He wants to snap the finger, and all of a sudden, he's lean muscle. He's big. He's got cut muscles, six-pack abs. He's ready to go. He's ready to hit football, running, and whatever else. But sometimes it takes longer for certain makeups of body. He and I had this long conversation that I'm 6'3". I'm a big guy. I got a big frame. I got everything. Now, my wife's side of the family are much shorter. They're about 5, maybe 9, 5'10". They are a shorter group of men and women, and they're smaller frames. So he's got a mix between the two. He's got the height. He's starting to sprout. He's doing all this stuff. So we talked about where you need to meet yourself where you're at. Push your limits, but understand that your body responds differently to different things. Now, the other end of this is he has the fortunate situation that kid can eat like a horse, and he can dive into everything in our whole entire kitchen and do whatever he has to do. He's diving into it. He's eating all these snacks. He's eating everything. Of course, he's working out a lot, so he needs to supplement those calories that he's burning so much because he's a young growing boy. But we have a lot of healthy stuff in the house anyway. So, but he can eat like a horse and not gain an ounce. And the guy and the kid's like lean muscle, lean machine, got dancing moves, everything else, right? And so his dad, as in me, if I ate like he did, I'd be 400 pounds. Even if I'm working out, I'd be 400 pounds because that's the makeup that I have. I gain faster, and I need to really take a look at what's going in my mouth for me to be able to make sure that I can stay healthy. So I tied it right back to my son because as I watched this morning, I thought to myself, it makes total sense because you can have the fire and the passion all day long. All day long, you can be so passionate about the things that you do and the things that you want to accomplish. And you can start to do the work and you can start to grind and you can start to do the things that are necessary. But the second that you get into a place where you are impatient or you are not achieving the things that you want to at the speed that you want to, you know what affects that? That starts to go back to all the other stuff. Then you start to lose that passion. And you start to lose that drive and that motivation and all those things. If there's anything from this podcast that you can pull away from and you can say, okay, that is going to resonate with me, it's got to be patience. It's got to be. We have to learn how to be patient. Now, that it's not a skill that you learn overnight because we've been trained as humans, like I opened with, all our lives that we just want to be able to walk up to something, hit the button, and it's done. And it's there it is, poof, and it's in our laps. So whether it's research for Google or whether it's asking your Google Homes or your Alexas to be able to, can you tell me whatever such and such is? And they answer the question immediately without actually having to go do any work to be able to find it. That's part of our society. It's who we are. It's how we're ingrained. That's where we are. So a lot of times I feel as if we're in this culture that's built around instant gratification and quick fixes. And that's not the way you get to the top of where you want to be. I was watching this other thing last night, and on there, there was an older fella, and he stood in front of the whole entire group, and he was passionate, man. He was dropping F-bombs, he was dropping S-bombs, but he was insightful, though, because what he was talking about was there are people that think that people like Bill Gates or Steve Jobs or Elon Musk or these guys that are millionaires, that are rich and famous, they've got all this money, and they're part of the tech industry, they're part of whatever, and they just are sitting back on their laurels and going, hey, you know what, I'm just rich because I just so happened to stumble upon something like this. But they didn't really realize what kind of work that these guys did and do. Even still to this day, Bill Gates grinds, and he works, and he focuses, and he's busting his ass going to do the things that he wants to do. A lot of it's philanthropic, right, with some of the Bill Gates Foundation and stuff like that around the world. But he grinds and he works and he brands and he does everything, even to this day, even after he's billionaire. Hey guys, one of the questions that I get from a lot of the listeners of the show is, how can I support the podcast? Well, one of the ways you can do so is you can go to www.patreon.com/Liquid Coffee Talk, and you can join to become a patron of the show. Now, what this means is you can go in and you can donate to the show as a recurring payment, or you can do it as a one-time donation towards the show itself. And this helps for things like lighting, microphones, cables, software, interviews, and everything else that we're doing to be able to continue to elevate this show in general. And what you also get is if you become a patron of the show, there are different tiers you can go in at. And one of the things you can do is you can get some swag back from the show. So basically coffee mugs, t-shirts, stickers, and all kinds of different things just for becoming a patron of the show. The other benefit to it is you can get exclusive content, whether it's interviews or bloopers or videos from me to you, just the patrons, to be able to continue moving forward and be inspired as we go about our days. So I appreciate all of the feedback that I get from you guys and, of course, all the love. But if you want to become a patron, that's how you do it. I'll also put a link to the page right in the body of this podcast itself. Now back to the show. Somebody like an Oprah Winfrey is another one. When you look at it, no matter what's going on, she's grinding. She's grinding with marketing, with branding, with magazines, with televisions, with shows, with everything. Everybody thought that when she stopped her show, she was going to fall off the radar or just reap the benefits of the millions and millions of dollars that she makes being the richest woman in the world. But on the same token, she doesn't. She goes out and she grinds and she's hitting the circuits and she's doing interviews and she's doing all kinds of stuff and she's being an influence in the world. Think about it. What they do is they focus on continuing to grind and step their game up, even if they hit the pinnacle of what they're looking for. We haven't even hit that pinnacle. And we give up on ourselves. We haven't even hit that apex of what we're looking for. We're looking to either whatever it is that we're trying to fight for, whatever it is that we're trying to do, we're trying to grind to get there. But we give up on ourselves so fast because we're not patient enough and we're not knowing internally that we've got to work and we've got to put in the time and the effort to be able to get there. One day it will come. I'm on this other social media app. It's called TikTok. If you haven't heard of TikTok, it's interesting. I've done a couple of video posts and I've shared it on some of my other platforms because I find it to be fun. It's a lot of teenagers, a lot of dancing, some inappropriate stuff, whatever. It's across the board. But what I do is I go in there and I start to follow some of the folks that I find inspirational. So if they put out inspirational messages or positivity or things like that, I follow them. And then when you follow them, your feed gets filled with those types of posts. So it's interesting. Because one of the guys that's on there, he's an influencer, and he's got 1.2 million followers on there, and he's puts out lots of positive messages and everything. And one of the things that he said was, if you're sitting back and you're looking at a social media app like TikTok, and you're looking at this, and you want to be a social media influencer, you want to be somebody that gains a lot of followers and can gain a lot of attraction and actually make some money from whatever it is that you're trying to do, the key to it is to stay consistent. You've got to stay consistent. You got to continue to grind. If you look at some of your top influencers, they post videos every day, whether it's just a video of them dancing, a video of them lip syncing, whether it's a video of them spreading positivity, whatever it is, they put content out every single day. In the space of social media, your relevance and your importance is how often people see you. And they understand the concept of, I've got to grind it out. I've got to work, just like Bill Gates, just like Steve Jobs, just like anybody. So the common theme here is they know what it needs to put in the work and the time and the effort. They know what it means if they want to continue to stay relevant and continue to push forward and be at the top of their game. So what are you doing today to be at the top of your game? Do you understand the concept that it's going to take time? Do you understand the concept that it takes work and energy? Because if you don't, then you've got to right-size your mind. Because I know this is what I have to do all the time. I have to almost give myself, in hockey, we use it as a reference of we got to check somebody against the boards. That's what I've got to do with my mind. because I got to check myself and I got to be able to say, okay, you're not going to get there as fast as what you used to. You're almost 47 years old. Your metabolism is slowing down. Your body's getting a little bit older. And so I can't just diet something and be able to know that when I was in my 20s, I could drop weight at the snap of a finger. And now it's slowing down. I've got thyroid stuff. I got all this other issues. And I've got to be able to meet myself where I am, but continue to grind and work it out and figure out what works for me. So are you ready to do what it takes to be able to work? And then are you also ready to change your mindset to a patient attitude of, I'm going to have a winning attitude and I'm going to go get it and bust my ass to get there. But on the same token, I got to know that it's going to take a while to get to where I want to be. Sometimes your time is not right now. And that's hard for us to hear because we only have a short amount of time on this earth. But if your time is not right now for the things that you want to accomplish, it's okay. There will be another time coming up. Stay consistent. Keep grinding. Keep working. That's the crux of it all. Because if you're not going to do all those things and you're not going to continue to work and you're just going to want to sit back for somebody to hand it to you, I'm sorry to say, and I'm sad to say, it's never going to happen. It is not just going to be handed to you. This isn't silver spoons. This isn't a place where you can go to get free stuff. It just isn't. This takes work, energy, and time. And, of course, the positivity and the drive to do it. So all of them work in conjunction with each other. Think of it as being like an engine wheel. Okay? So you've got all these different prongs of the engine wheel. And each one of the different prongs on the outside of the engine wheel are the different concepts of what we're looking at. So basically, your first one of the prongs is going to be energy and drive, right? The second one might be something like motivation and your whys of why you're doing it. Maybe the third one is work and drive and those kind of things and you putting in the effort for you to be successful. And then the fourth one is going to be patience and the ability to be able to think differently or adjust and pivot. Okay, so you've got all these little prongs of the wheel. All of them, you can see it visually, right? This is what I'm doing. I'm seeing it visually. And I'm looking at all these different prongs. What happens if one of those prongs snap off? Then the overall performance of this mechanism of your life goes slower and it drags and it doesn't get to where it needs to be. And it might eventually get there, but boy, oh boy, that patience is going to be really tested now because now all the other gears are working that much harder. And then you start to lose some of those things like your momentum and your drive and your motivation, your positivity and your all those things. So you look at this wheel, you've got to have all the wheels running on all cylinders. You've got to be able to invest in each one of them. And maybe if one of those gears is getting a little bit loose and starting to shake a little bit, you can put some reinforcement on there, be a welder and start to put that back together to give some reinforcements so that way the wheel can continue to push forward and continue to move. Now, here's the other thing. You have to think to yourself, if you've got big goals and big plans, it may be a huge, grand goal that you want to be able to accomplish. And maybe it's almost out of reach. And you're thinking to yourself, I want to give myself big goals. Well, sometimes you may not be able to get to those goals. Okay? So what you have to do is you have to adjust and pivot what your goals are. This is another whole episode, to be honest with you, if we're looking at it. But you've got to be able to take a look at if you set unachievable, unrealistic, and goals that you can't get to, you're setting yourself up for failure anyway. So set realistic goals, guys. Whatever it is that you're trying to fight for, set realistic goals or set the smaller goals to get to the bigger goal that you want to eventually get to. You can't, I've said this in a podcast about maybe around 5 or 6 podcasts ago. You can't get to a point where you think that you're going to be a multi-billionaire overnight. You can't without inheritance or without winning the lottery or whatever else. You can't get there. Overnight, instant gratification, not going to happen. It takes work, time, effort. We know all that. But then also, how many actual multi-billionaires are there in the world? I don't even know if there are any. There might be like single billionaires or whatever else, maybe 5 or 6 of those. But are you setting realistic goals? Or are you saying to yourself, okay, my goal needs to be the fact that I'll be out of debt by this amount of time? That's a realistic goal. To get yourself to a point where you're out of debt and you're working towards saving or building up a nest egg or some amount of money or a place that you can go to be able to tap into when you retire and whatever else. So realistic goals is going to be really important, because if you set unrealistic goals, guess what happens to all that other stuff? All those other gears, like patience, you run out of patience because you're never going to get there. Your drive and your motivation goes away, because then you're realizing, oh man, I'm really not going to get to where I want to be able to get to, or I'm trying my damnedest, but I'm not moving forward. So you lose your motivation, you lose your drive, you lose your positivity, you lose all that stuff, and then you're just working that much harder to try to get there with no real focus in all the other areas. So you can see how important realistic goals are. But the key to this podcast isn't goal setting, because we've already talked about that before, because goal setting is important. This podcast is about patience. It's about knowing that it's going to take time for you to get to where you want to be. I have to remember this every single day. I have to remember how much work it takes and how much time it takes to be able to get to where you want to be. And I know that my time frames are different from when it was when I was in my 20s and my 30s. And now that I'm in my 40s, my time frames are different. Even if I do the same work and I do the same energy and I do the same things that worked for me before, I know that I need to readjust what my time frames look like. And maybe you do too. Maybe you've got to look at how realistic are you setting those time frames for yourself. Are you willing to be patient to get to where you've got to get to know that this is a lifelong journey a lot of times, whether it's health, whether it's professional, whatever it is, to know that you've got to take the time and put in the time and then accept the fact that it takes time to get there. I thought it was astounding when I was looking for inspiration this morning, and it smacked me right in the face, because I also struggle. I also struggle with the fact that I may not be losing weight the way that I want to, or I may not be gaining the cut muscles that I really want to, but I also know that I may not be also doing all of the things that I need to do when it comes to the work that needs to be put in. So there's some of that also. I've got the right attitude and the right mindset, but on the back end, I'm not, one, understanding that patience is important, and I've got to know that it takes time to get there, and two, am I doing effective work? Or am I just grinding, doing what I've always done? So I've got to change it. I got to change out what my routine is. I got to change out what I'm doing to be able to grind it out and work at the things that I want to be able to work at. If those things are important to me and they are on my bucket list of items of things that I've got to get done in my life, and I know that these are hallmark moments for me to be able to accomplish, then I got to be able to make adjustments and put the work in for me to be able to do it and get to where I want to be. It's so important. All these things are so important. Everything is all about the mindset. It's all about how you think about things and how you adjust, pivot, and respond. So when you're here, you are today, okay, you're whatever it is that you're trying to be able to accomplish, whatever positive place you want to land, whatever it is that you're trying to do, whether it's financial, health, whatever it is that you're trying to do, I want you to focus on the end game of what you're looking at here. Are you setting realistic expectations of time frames of where you want to get there? And is it an open, kind of like a moving target? Is it something that you want to be able to say that, okay, I don't even need to set a date that I need to get to, but I need to set small incremental goals of what I want to get to, small things that I want to be able to do. And am I willing to be able to accept the fact that it may not go as fast as I want it to? Those are the things you need to ask yourself, because if you're not willing to accept the fact that it may take some time, then it may not be worth doing for you, because you may end up failing in the long run. Just being honest, right? I mean, I have to tell myself that. If I can't get into the right frame of mind and understand the concept that this is a long time journey and it takes effort and everything else, then what am I doing it for? Because instant gratification is only good for so much. You know, you can win the lottery, but if you don't have good financial sense about yourself and making smart decisions, guess what? That money's gone and then you're bankrupt. Right? So that's my message today on this podcast. Different quadrants to your journey, right? You got to have the right mindset, bring a lot of positivity. You got to be able to understand that your why is important to you to keep pushing forward and doing the things that you have to do. You got to know that you got to put in the work. It's not easy. You've got to put in the work. You got to grind it out. You got to be consistent. You got to stay focused and stay vigilant. And then lastly, you have to understand that patience is the most important part of it all. And it works in conjunction with everything else that you're doing. If you're not patient and you know that you're not patient, then you've got to work on being patient. Because sometimes things that are great, that are worth achieving, take time to get there. Okay? Have a great day, everybody. We'll talk soon.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast. Please do us a favor and leave feedback and a 5-star rating on whatever platform that you use.